We don't have any action coming out of our executive session, so we'll move on to item number 2, which is preliminary engineering raw water intake modifications presented by Clinton McNamee.
All right, this item is pretty much in response to the experience that we had this last winter that started in late December, extended in through mid-February, in which the river levels were at times so low that our intake was completely out of the water, and we were 100% relying on what we hoped would be a backup pump. Created a very fragile situation for us, very difficult to keep it going, although we did keep it going, and thanks to our crew and multiple departments for putting resources into that to make sure that we were safe and keeping that water flowing. So this is sort of against the backdrop of our efforts to look at collector wells. That design process is starting. Might take some amount of time. There's no guarantee that once we get through design that construction funding for collector wells will follow in suit. So this is a attempt to look at alternatives to modify our existing infrastructure at the raw water intake to provide a more stable, less susceptible to the elements method of having an auxiliary system in case the river levels go low again next winter, basically. So we put out an RFQ for preliminary engineering, received a few submissions from Black & Veatch, BG Consultants, and Snyder and Associates. Staff felt that Black & Veatch had demonstrated the most experience specific to this issue. So we selected them. They came back with a proposal for $39,930, which is presented tonight for your consideration.
Do you have any questions?
So I'm understanding this is just to,
It's a alternatives analysis, basically. It's to look at different ways to address this. I think probably the preferred method, with all things considered, like with cost and things, would probably be to take what we've already done with like our auxiliary pump and shore that up so that it's not, that we don't have crews down trying to keep that pipe from freezing, constantly. And
so they're just going to recommend solutions to us, and we have no way of knowing what the cost of those solutions.
they'll provide some high-level estimates of which route to take, as far as the costs of each. It won't be exact quotes, but
Sure.
Basically what would happen is, depending on what the outcome is, the selected alternative, it would have to go into a design phase and then ultimately construction if we proceed with it.
Clinton, can you tell me, when do you think the earliest the collector wells would be constructed, in place, ready to use?
Haven't had those conversations in a very detailed way, but in kind of a generic, other places, what they've done. I've seen the 2 to 4 year.
Okay,
And those are like, everything's happening
right.
sequentially. The design is not set to be finalized until spring of '24. And so, add a year or two in there. There's also time for if funding is seamless and we can go right into bidding and construction, there's still seasoning the wells, a period of time before there's a certain balance in the water that you're getting out of it.
So we're looking at a number of winters with the, I'm going to say, typically lower levels because of how they release from the dam.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's nothing to indicate right now that next winter is going to be back to the old days where, low flows weren't quite as low. So Part of the reason that we've talked about in the past is riverbed degradation. So whereas you might see the same amount of flow being released during the winter, because we feel like the river channel is at a lower elevation than it used to be, 12,000 cubic feet per second, doesn't hit as high on our intake as it used to. And this last winter, we hit the lowest on recorded history because of the ice jam. So there was a few factors that may or may not all happen at once again, like it did with the extremely low temperatures, the ice jams that weren't moving, and then the already low flow for winter. This is a step towards being prepared for another solution if we continue to have these issues, and for right now, I have no reason to believe that we wouldn't continue to have these issues.
And if these were constructed 2 to 4 years down the road, whatever, then like when it gets low, we won't be in that predicament. We wouldn't.
Right. The collector wells kind of alleviate the issue of water height relative to our intake, because it'll pull all the groundwater and from, I think, riverbed level, right?
Below that.
Below riverbed. Yeah.
And that's what the communities around us do.
There are communities that do collector wells. There are communities that are doing the modifications that we're looking at doing. I think we are looking at in a theoretical sense, we're looking at it not as a robust of a modification. If we weren't doing collector wells, this would be looking different. This would be probably a 7-figure modification thing. I don't think that I would recommend that to this commission once these alternatives come out. Where that number is, I'm not exactly sure. Kind of hoping for much less than 7 figures, at least half of that, but we'll see. But they've worked with cities that they permanently modify. The pumps are on floats that adjust with the river. Big project. I don't think we're looking at something quite like that. We're looking more like something to make our auxiliary system just a little bit more resilient so that we're not feeling like we're quite so fragile as we were this last year.
Do you have any other questions?
You're confident that this is a fair quote, that you're satisfied with it?
Yes. Yeah.
Anything else? No? Okay. Do we have a motion to authorize the staff to hire Black & Veatch for preliminary engineering services in the amount of $39,930 related to modifications to the raw water intake facility?
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, Clinton. Okay, we will move on to communications.
All right, communications this evening include a set of minutes from Joint Communications Board meeting on December 14th, 2022, and 2 letters from Kansas Department of Commerce, the first being a letter of the CDBG grant award for the property at 731, 733 West Commercial Street. And the second letter is letting us know that our most recent base grant application to mitigate landfill issues from the runway project did not receive a grant award.
Okay. Thank you. So we don't have any informational items. We'll move on to governing body comments. Commissioner Young?
Sure, I have a couple. One, I was very happy that we had the Atchison Farmers Market and the proclamation. Just encourage everyone to use the farmers market. I use it a lot. It's wonderful. Also, again, congratulations to Karen Seberg and Jackie for the wonderful opening of the Amelia Earhart Hanger Museum. That was lovely. And then finally, again, congratulations to Letitia Downing, who and the newspaper also that showcased Jackie and Karen, is that Letitia, Benedictine graduate, was the first Benedictine graduate to present at the United Nations. So I think that's fantastic. Atchison has a lot to be proud of.
Right. Commissioner Wilcox?
I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Greenlee?
Nothing.
Vice Mayor Bartlett? Okay. And I don't have anything either. So I guess we're adjourning into a workshop. Do I have a motion for adjournment? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none.